Let me get started with the value proposition, but we're going to spend a lot of time going through the software. This is truly a almost like a product walkthrough and a collaborative call where I'm going to show you the things we have built. And it's almost assuming you are already a underwriting user. And there are 5 underwriting deals for free that you can underwrite directly on the portal. So everyone can use it for free at this point. And just give it a try. And if you don't like it, go back to your spreadsheet. If you like it, keep using it. So I'm going to go through some of the problem statements, but most of this call is going to show you all the new tricks that you can do with our underwriting software. And they are really cool. It's almost revolutionizing the way I think about underwriting. Okay. So this is one of those things in which we feel like we are building cutting edge stuff as opposed to just building what has been built. The problem statement of underwriting to kind of set the stage is when you are underwriting a lot. Right now, folks may not be buying a lot of properties, but if you are, you probably have a lot of folks that dedicated to underwriting, and you're spending too much time on parsing rent rolls and T12s. And a deal that typically should take about 10 minutes to filter it out, you're spending about 60 minutes or 30 minutes to just parsing the data. And because of that, you are less likely to do as much underwriting. I think of underwriting as like exercise. If it takes about 45 minutes to go to your car, get to the gym, exercise, come back, you are less likely to exercise. But if it only takes about 5 minutes and get a really good workout in, you are more likely to do so, especially if underwriting is not your full-time job. Problem statement number 2 is, this is a more recent problem statement, is people are starting to use Claude and ChatGPT to do the parsing. They're like, okay, I think I can replace all of that with AI. So what do I need a dedicated software for? I think if all of you have done underwriting with AI, you probably will notice that you are spending a lot of time verifying the numbers from the output of ChatGPT and Claude. Specifically, you don't know if the formulas got changed. You don't know if they parsed the rent roll correctly. There's no traceability to say, okay, I parsed this rent, but is it really the rent? I parsed this unit number. Is it really the unit number? So you're spending too much time verifying because it doesn't give you the logic on how it's being parsed. So if you have that kind of experience, you might be able to identify with that. Okay. So yes, the other problem statement is no standardized format for T12 reporting. Yes, every single property management software has a different way of reporting their T12. And sometimes it's like garbage in, garbage out. Is this repairs and maintenance part of CapEx? Is it not part of CapEx? Like really, nobody exactly knows. Now, so this call again is a collaborative call where I'm going to show you just almost like a cool new features that you may not know. And then you guys can give me more feedback as well. Our goal of our software is to be the cursor or clock code for your underwriting workstation with institutional guardrails. Okay, so we are also using our AI in the back, Claude and ChatGPT in the backend. But we are building workflows and institutional compliance on top of it to make sure that the formulas don't change, to make sure that it's mathematically correct. Okay, I care a lot about being mathematically correct. All right, so I'm gonna jump straight into it. I'm gonna show a few things, pause there, and then show more things. And then you guys can ask me any questions. All right, cool. So here is the first thing I'm gonna show you. At the very top, you see the pipelines. These are all the unassigned deals. These are all the new prospective deals, preliminary screening, in-depth analysis, internal review, LOI shortlist, LOI submitted. Okay. You can create a free deal. You have actually 5 free quota that you can use before you go further. Okay, so everyone who has a Cashflow Portal account can use it for free at this point. Okay, that's the pipeline. There are a few other things that you can use. One of them is something we shipped recently called deal comparison. Okay, where you can select any 2 deals. I'm gonna select this Bella Vista and then another Bella Vista apartments as an example, where you can compare the purchase price the exit value, the cash and cash, the IRR, the total return across those two deals. You can pick any two. Now, here I put the thing called property levels. These are property level metrics, but I can compare the class A versus their class A. Because say you have a waterfall, you can compare the class A against the other properties class A. Okay. Now, let me go back to here. Suppose you are using Claude Code, right? The end result of the Claude Code is a spreadsheet for that particular underwriting. I am very doubtful that Claude Code can compare the IRR between the two metrics. Does that make sense? Between the two deals. That's already a huge improvement where because our deals are structured data, you can actually compare the metrics across deals. Okay, so that's that. And then you can also zoom in into which class am I comparing against. Okay. The template section is very interesting. Templates, how do you think of templates? You can create an expense template. And let me zoom in here a little bit. An expense template is basically saying that, well, I'm underwriting Dallas, Texas Class B properties, and I'm going to preset my expenses for the pro forma. But sometimes I don't know what expenses I should use because I've never seen this area before. There is a column called same as T12. When you check this it's like I don't know exactly what expenses I should give. I'm just gonna use whatever the T12 gives me. But for the property management fee, I'm not gonna use the same as T12. I'm gonna just set it to 3.5% of the income. Does that make sense? So that there you can have an expense template. And you can add different expense templates and so on. So here, what we usually do is you make a copy of this and you can call this Dallas, Texas Class B minus or, Fort Worth, Texas Class A expense template. So you can create as many expense templates as you like. Okay. So that's how you use it. Similarly, you can create as many waterfall structures. So we have some very, very complicated waterfall structures. Most people use the straight split, the class A, class B way. But some people may have like preferred equity, where they distribute to the preferred equity partner until the preferred equity partner achieves a 6% cash and cash, then to class A until they achieve a 7% cash and cash, then a 70-30 split. And then when you have this kind of waterfalls, remember you need to have a waterfall during the time in which you are asset managing, and you need a waterfall at the time of disposition and refinance. And we have that. Okay. This is the same waterfall that we actually are applying for a patent on called distribution engine. And this is the same waterfall that power Cashflow Portal's entire investor management software. So we are using the same component for waterfall in underwriting and investor management. So that's why we say it's mathematically correct. Okay. Closing costs, same thing. You can have different closing cost templates. CapEx, same thing. Finance as well. You can have different finance templates. So that's so you can create as many templates, different templates for different scenarios. All right. With that, now that we go over pipeline, do you compare templates and any kind of default settings? So, for example, what does this settings mean? It means that when I'm underwriting, a typical deal comes in, what kind of expense pro forma template do I want to use? What kind of distribution waterfall do I want to use? What kind of closing cost waterfall do I want to use? What's my replacement reserve default? And what's the holding period default? And do I want to auto calculate the purchase price? Auto calculate purchase price is really cool. It means when you upload something, the AI will try to come up with the value of how much you should offer on that price, as opposed to like, oh, I don't know how much I should offer. It will offer a price that basically hit a certain IRR percentage that you want. Okay, and that's also you will see in a second how that works. Any questions up to this point? Does that make sense? You have the comparison, you have the templates, and why we have these defaults and templates. Let me pause there for any comments you can put in the chat or anything that you want to see particularly in the chat. So I want to make this collaborative. If you want to speak, you can just unmute yourself and speak if you want to.
Hey, Perry. Again, I used to be in software myself, so total appreciation for where you're at and rolling this out. But back to the purchase price.
Yeah.
Is it like an iterative thing? Again, there's financials, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an iterative thing where we can put in a assumed uh, offer price, LOI price, purchase price, and then it will generate not only IRR but ROI, cash on cash, cap rate, things like that.
Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. 100%.
And
I'll show
but
you.
basically at the project level, and then
Yes.
after financing.
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
It's
I'm
gonna
sure
be
you'll
super.
get into that, but
Yeah. I
ideally
love
that's
it.
an iterative thing. The price is an output or price is an input, and then to drive all the metrics.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I'll show that. Mm-hmm. Other questions? Great question. Yeah. Amazing.
I suppose the other
Um,
thing is somehow, some way, if there was some way to like anonymously NDA, or somehow you promise your children, Perry, whatever, that if we were to be able to anonymously upload
Mhm.
financials, and I'm uploading a financial on a Texas deal, an Arkansas deal, a KC deal, a Columbus deal, whatever, and somehow that is anonymized and aggregated. Here's a bunch of Columbus deals and
Yeah.
T12s. Here's
Yeah.
the aggregate OPEX per unit for 70s product, 80s product, 90s product, whatever. And then your customers, us, underwriting, have reference metrics per unit per year to then apply towards the deal in
Yeah.
question.
Great question. On that end, I have a very honest answer. Right now, we don't have a critical mass, and is real estate is such segregated and fragmented marketplace that it will be really hard to do that right now. And in order to do that, a better
I was going to take a
approach
phone call
is
right
to
now.
AI to call all these apartments, and which is becoming a co-star in its own right. We have plans to learn from your own data. So if you underwrite enough Columbus deals, we will say, hey, based on all your underwriting, this is the expense you typically use, but you being just your own data. So that's the approach we're taking. When we try to anonymize across all GPs, it becomes a little bit dangerous. And second, we don't have a critical mass just yet. Yeah. So that will be the honest answer. Sarah, thank you for raising your hand. Question.
yeah, Perry, I'm coming at this from like a fund manager perspective, and just like kind of doing due diligence on deals that
Yeah,
I'm bringing to my investors. So just wanted to get your perspective if there's any particular way I can leverage this underwriting tool to due diligence deals from that angle, if that makes sense. If there's anything
I love it.
different I would be doing here.
I'll talk about that also as well. Thank you. Wow, we are. This is good. We are all working on the right things in that case. All right, let me click into it and then let me show you. So the questions are: one is how can I see different prices at different scenarios iteratively? Second is how can I come to the right price almost to fit my criteria? And then the third is how can I underwrite for feeder funds and funnel funds? So those are the two main buckets. I'm gonna go through each one of them. All right. First, this is the new UI. If you folks look at this UI a few years ago, you're gonna be like, "Wow, this looks very, very different." Yeah, it's we made a lot of progress on that. It looks like a spreadsheet. It feels like a spreadsheet. You have the file. You can make a copy. You can manage all the active scenarios. Let me talk about active scenarios. Active scenario is it means that for every income and every expense, you can create a different income scenario, in different expense scenario, and you can then toggle between the scenarios. So there might be a finance where you gotta refinance on year 4. There might be a finance scenario in which you just don't refinance at all. If you try to use a spreadsheet, let's say you have 2 income scenarios and 2 finance scenarios and maybe 2 waterfalls. That is 8 different spreadsheets. Then let that sink in a little bit. Is that true? Like you basically have to like change that one variable and create a new spreadsheet for it. Whereas in this software, every scenario is its own right, and you can toggle between them. So as soon as I toggle to a different scenario, all the numbers get updated. Okay, so that's the scenario. Typically, what a customer does is that they come in and they will first land on the upload section. On the upload section, you will upload your Renro T12 OM. You can upload as many files as you like. You can upload like the entire folder. Don't upload a zip file because we're not going to parse the zip file, but any file you want. And we will automatically classify it as a, oh, this is a Renro, or that's a T12, or that's a OM. If you upload a OM, we actually parse the entire OM. And we will also underwrite based on the numbers from the OM. So you can compare between what the OM say the price should be and what your actual T12 and railroad say the number should be, the purchase price should be. Okay. So the first thing you do is upload as many files as you like. Okay. Once you upload them, we automatically classify, oh, this is a rent roll, and we automatically parse the rent roll. Okay. The rent roll looks like this. You can see that this is occupied, this is vacant, and we will have we will know that whether something is vacant or occupied, and we will, sometimes the rent roll will have like the rent and a bunch of like other income stuff attached to the rent. We can parse those as well. If you upload a PDF, we will convert the PDF to an Excel. If you upload Excel, we just parse it immediately.
I'm sorry, really quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
I'm sorry, I was distracted. I'm underwriting. But did you already talk about single line rent rolls versus multi-line rent rolls?
Yes, we can do both. Yeah.
That is the biggest pain in the butt for anybody who's dealt with that manually.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And more importantly, you can see based on this output that this line includes the rent, and certain lines don't include the rent because because for example, this line does not include rent 48. So this is a classic example. Let me show you. Let me zoom in. We already took into account of unit 1038, and on this stupid rent roll, there are two 1038s. And we need to know that, only one of the units actually should be accounted for your unit mix. The other one does not. And AI automatically does that, right? Imagine you upload this to Claude, and Claude is like, there are 170 whatever units. And you're like, okay, is this correct? Is this not correct? I have no idea of what you did. But like, if it doesn't match what I thought, then you have to like really investigate. That's the problem statement that I mentioned before.
Here, the problem statement is the multi-line or the single line rent roll, where it will show the current occupant and or the vacancy.
Yes, exactly.
And then also adjacent to it, the new applicant or the future move-in.
Yes.
So like you're looking at a 100 unit deal, but you see 110 distinct units because some of them, you know what I'm saying, Perry?
Yeah. Welcome. Like in the past year or 2 years, I have seen thousands of these. So welcome to the world of underwriting. Exactly. That's it.
13 years on my part.
Yeah. All right. Now so let me go back to rent roll. Once we parse it, we automatically generate this unit type. If you go to the units, we also basically make our internal representation of it. And then if you go to the insights, you will see when the leases end of each expiration date and when do the the statistics of the rents. How many of each unit type do we have? And then what are the rents currently of each unit type? Okay. All right. T12, very similar concept where when you upload the T12, we automatically parse every single line. Okay. And we give you the insights as well about these. So for example, we will say, hey, we will color code some of these as red when we feel like it doesn't make sense. And these will be the initial questions you might want to ask your broker. Okay. And then some of them will be yellow, and these are like, okay, there's like yellow flags. And then the greens are the ones in which this property is doing pretty well. So you can see an AI summary on that. All right. So at this point, what you do is, so if you click on this modeling section, let me zoom in here. I'm going to divide the underwriting into 3 distinct steps. Step number 1, upload parse. That's the first step, which is upload things. That's this first section. The second step is modeling. So everything here is just modeling, putting in your inputs. And then the third step is this thing called this is distributions, waterfalls, and feeder funds, which is what do the LPs make. So this is built for syndications and fund managers. I like to tell people, because there are certain folks that watch these YouTube videos as well, and then they come to us and say, hey, I want to underwrite I want to underwrite single families. And I said, if your thing doesn't have distributions and waterfalls, you're not really like, it's not complex enough for our software. We need you to use waterfalls and distributions in order to do them. Okay, so that's that. All right, so we have finished the upload section. Let's go into the modeling section. If you look at the modeling section, it's also really cool. This is the property. This is a $14 million whisper price. I'm gonna make a $14 million purchase price. The target IRR is 14%. The actual IRR is 14.12%. These numbers are gonna show up in the sensitivity analysis, meaning that 14% IRR, if I look at sensitivity analysis, this is the property level, and then I can do class A, investor level. This is sensitivity, 14% at this rate, IRR. At a 6.5% exit cap and a 14%, $14 million purchase price, I'm getting for my investors a 14.1% IRR. When you look at this chart, you will see that as the exit cap increases, meaning that it will sell for less, right? Your IRR decreases. Make sense? And as your price decreases, then you will make more money. So at the very top level, you're gonna see all the green stuff. All right, so far so good. There's nothing magic about it. You put in 14%. But let me show you something we have been working on, which is really cool. Let's say your target IRR is actually 16%, and that's a number that you can actually put in a priori, like 16%. And then I'm gonna look at my sensitivity analysis. I'm going to look at the class A there, and then I think I need to refresh this thing. That's something we have some engineers on the call. We'll do that. Okay, so there's the 14%, and we look at class A, and then this is 14%. You can see now it's yellow because I set my target IRR to be 16%, and it's still 14%. So as a result, this is yellow, and I want to achieve a green. So then the question is like, what purchase price should I make such that it will hit 16% IRR? Well, to answer that question, which is a reverse engineering question, I'm going to click on AI Assistant. Welcome to the 21st century AI underwriting. What purchase price could I make to achieve 16% class A IRR? Okay, this is class A IRR. You will think about it and then watch this number, watch the purchase price. It will change the purchase price in front of you. It will read this thing, it will change it. I'm not touching anything right now, okay? It will think, and then it will start like changing some numbers here, okay? This does take about, on the current, what purchase price is 13.6. Can you change it directly? Can you change it directly? Okay. I think I have to change my prompt to say, change the purchase price to hit the 16% IRR. Oh yeah, it changed it, 13.5 already. Yeah. So it automatically changes the purchase price on your behalf. That is 15.99% purchase price. So you can tell it to do whatever you want. You can say, can you update the purchase price to achieve actually 16% like property level IRR. This is reverse engineering. I have underwritten 400 something multifamilies since I got into multifamily. Personally, I have never seen something like this myself. So it has changed this. You can see the purchase price has changed to almost 14.6. The actual IRR is 11%. And you're like, this is wrong. But I say it's property level IRR. So now if I go to cash model, check this out. This is, if you see here, if I go into now sensitivity analysis and I look at property level, wow, look at that. This is the price that's needed to achieve 16% IRR. Can your spreadsheet, can your cloud do that? I couldn't find it. And the reason that it couldn't do it is that spreadsheet is not structured data. It's like, this is a cell. Cloud doesn't know what the cell does. We have structured data. Every one of those labels we pass into Cloud, it means something. This number means purchase price. This IRR means something. You can only change these variables. Keep hitting this black box until you achieve what you want. But you are not allowed to change the formula. Whereas Claw could like, okay, you want 11% IRR, you want 16% IRR. I'm gonna hallucinate and then just change the formula so you get the 16% IRR. That's the difference. There's no guardrail or compliance with typical spreadsheet plus Claw. And in order to build the compliance, you basically have to rebuild a spreadsheet that's compliant, that has these guardrails. Okay. All right. Cool. So that's that. All right. So that's what that looks like. And there's a lot of stuff. By the way, while I'm doing this demo, if you folks have any other cool prompts that you want to try out, like for example, you can say, can you change? For example, one of the things I wrote in the email is like, some people want to just like, hey, there's a 3% cash and cash, right? 6%. How much more do I have to raise to achieve a 7% cash and cash on the first year? And then so that I can achieve 5% cash and cash, 8% cash and cash, and then 8% cash and cash for the remaining years. Like you can tell them, what do I need to do to get these numbers for my investors? And it will do it for you. So for example, let me see. Can you change the non-operating income and non-operating expenses such that the the class A investors will get 5%, 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, and 9% cash and cash for year 1 through 5, respectively. Okay. Yeah. So there's that. I'm gonna hit that, and then just watch what this thing happens. Now it will try to do some magic. I have no idea if this is gonna work. I'm like, at this point, I don't know how they do it. I just know that it's most likely works. Okay, wait for it. You think things. It will start updating things, and then wait for it. Okay, so it does take about a minute, or even sometimes a minute and a half to think. Basically, it keeps hitting this black box until it achieves what they want. Okay, so updating some modeling. Okay, so you can see this starts to change, right? This starts to change. You can see this non-operating income starts to change. Some of this expenses starts to change. This is no more zero. It says, oh, this is not true. Let me keep updating it, and then continue. Okay, so there's that. So, okay, so things, and then just wait for it. Eventually, it will come to the right decision. Okay, it updates one more time, and this will update it one more time, and then it reads it. And then once it's all and done, it will tell you a summary, thought for a minute, and then check this out. If I go to distribution waterfall, I look at this copy, I scroll down. Guys, I have not seen this before. This is how you can tweak the numbers to get what you want. There's no way I have seen this on like the Sumrock or whatever spreadsheet before. Okay, and you can do more things. Now, let me take a moment and address Sarah's question quickly. Sarah is asking, okay, so if you have questions, if you have any comments, put it on the chat there, okay? But let me address this thing, fund of funds, feeder funds. We introduced recently a new tab called feeder funds. And by the way, you can actually create multiple feeder funds. So you can say feeder fund 1, feeder fund 2, and the feeder fund, it has source returns, right? So it has the returns from the underlying deal. And then these are the income coming from the underlying fund or underlying syndication. Think of this as the income into your fund. That makes sense, right? This is the cash flow into your fund. Then you usually have to do some waterfalls on your end, and your waterfalls may look like a 90-10 split. So there's a 80-20. So let me update this to 90-10 split. Okay. So there's 90-10 split. Yeah, so I updated to 90-10 split. And then during my liquidation events, I also want to do a 90-10 split. And that's usually the default 90-10 split. And you have made even more complicated waterfalls. And then so this is your feeder fund returns. So to give an example, the class level is getting a 16% IRR. The reason you know it's property level is this is property level. Class A is generating a 11.99% IRR. And your feeder fund IRR is 10.8%. This is how I interpret it. I know there's a lot of math and so on. So you can say, can you update the purchase price, I can do a more complicated thing, by the way, which is like, what should be my waterfall to achieve at least an 11% waterfall? Oh, let's do that. Like, let's do a complicated. Can you update my feeder fund one feeder fund one waterfalls, falls? Let me see, falls to achieve 11% IRR. It's a IRR. It's 10.8 right now. That's crazy. I have no idea it will do that. So what it will do, this might be working, may not be working. This feeder file, it will create a new scenario, play with it, and then replace that scenario. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay. So you can ask that as well. So now it's 10.8% waterfall. It will read in the distribution data. It will change the distribution waterfall, and it will think. This might take a minute and a half. While that's going on, people can ask questions, comments.
Perry, so that was helpful in terms of like me figuring out my returns for investors. The other side of it is just like when I'm reviewing deals that I want to present to my investors, is there a way to use this underwriting tool to due diligence those deals, poke holes in them, etc.?
Thank you so much for saying that. In order to poke holes in them, you do basically need their T12 and rent roll, and then you almost underwriting it from scratch. You can take their underwriting like spreadsheet, and you can also upload it. But currently, we don't have the ability to read another underwriting spreadsheet and then try to update the numbers just yet. But so what I recommend is take their original source and then underwrite it on your own. Basically, you underwrite the whole thing, and then there's the distribution waterfall, which is at that level. And then from that point on, you can write your feeder fund on top of it. The other way, like the other way to poke holes, that's not exactly poking holes in some ways. You can say, hey, for the feeder fund, you basically take whatever they gave you, and then you plug those numbers in manually, or like using AI to plug it in, and then you will run your waterfall afterwards. But in order to see if they underwrote it correctly, you can reduce that problem down to like, hey, I'm going to do your underwriting again using this AI, but I'm gonna do it so much quickly to see if you have assumptions correct. Like you can like basically if you get it their T12 and rent roll, you can just ask the question, what could go wrong with this underwriting? What parts are they making they are aggressive? You can ask those questions.
Okay, that's super helpful. Thank you, Perry.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so so you update it to 98 to 8 split, and then if I look at the projections now, and bingo, 11.01%. So you can also use AI to change waterfalls. This technology, we will bring it into the investor portal as well, if that makes sense. So right now, a lot of people who are like having issues with like setting a waterfall, I think what we are missing is like, can you talk to it in plain English, and then it will just create the waterfall. Like we did it for underwriting. We have not moved that or migrated that to investor portal just yet. Okay. And so Lisa asks, is this a feeder fund the same as fund manager? Yes, 100%. Feeder fund is the same as fund manager / SPV. Feeder fund is the SPV into the fund. And we have a feeder fund program as well. So you can chat with us about that. What I'm trying to say is you can use the underwriting to test feeder fund feasibility. That's the underwriting part. Once that works, you can create an investor portal deal to raise money also using the feeder fund software. And then this is not shipped yet, but this will come in the next 6 months. The problem statement is you gave investors some kind of projection. It's not a promise, it's a projection. How do you know 3 months into the asset management whether you are meeting these pro formas? That's the essence of the question. You don't want to wait until a year later that like, oh, I promise, right? Not I promise. I was expecting 4.5% cash and cash for my feeder fund, but it's actually 2%. What happened? But you have the number here. So how are you going to come up with this 4.5? Well, you create a different spreadsheet, track all your income and your expenses, track all your asset management, and then you create a third spreadsheet that compare the data. Oh, this is what I promised, and this is what's actual. Let me compare how much I'm ahead or how much I'm behind. But the future is the following: we have your underwriting data. We know how much you are promising or how much you are projecting. Why don't we just allow you to upload the rents and expenses from different systems, from your property management software, so that we give you a real-time update on, hey, you are behind on your pro forma, or you are ahead, or you are overspending on your capex. Where are we? Like, that's the essence of the question. 3 months into it, where are you in terms of meeting your pro forma? And this is why we have to build this underwriting thing in order to get to the asset management part. Okay. I know that was a lot of a thing in that one sentence, but that's the vision that we have. And this is a vision for like 3 years ago, which is, I want to know, basically before everyone knows, as an operator, how is my property doing? I don't want to know 9 months into it when it's too late to change course. I want to know on month 2, are we on track or are we not on track? And in order to even answer that question, you have to do so much groundwork to even know that one answer. Why? Because the property level return is not the same as investor level. It gets filtered. It gets filtered by your waterfall, right? So like, it makes sense. So that's why you have to create another spreadsheet to do that math and so on. So this is why. Okay. I think this is a side tangent. All right, cool. Let me pause there. I think that was a lot already, and we are close to our 45-minute mark. But suffice to say that you can go through unit mix, you can go through income. I can dismiss this one. And then this is what the income looks like. You can see I can put in economic vacancy. I can see all these pro formas. And these other income come from the T12. Like, you don't manually put these numbers in, okay? And so that's what projection looks like. This is what expense looks like. And then expense, you can have pro forma 1, year 2, and so on. And every year you can say, hey, I want to increase it by 3%, right? Or I can say, hey, say, for example, some expenses don't trigger and don't start until year 3. And so you can say, on year 3, I'm going to do per unit. So basically start all over. And so, or you can say, hey, this is just whatever happened last year, add 3% to it, and so on. So every year you have a toggle, okay? And every item you have a toggle. Property tax, you can ask ChatGPT, not ChatGPT, you can ask our AI assistant, say, hey, what is the effective tax rate in this area? Okay, let me check. This is the effective tax rate, right? But we have this thing called assessed value. So you can see this is the effective tax rate. Can you look up the assessed millage rate in the area or from OM and update it using the millage rate? And I'm gonna intentionally misspell millage rate. I don't care. It's gonna understand. So this will change. This part will change. Or I hope it will. So first, it will look into the world. It will look online. It will like, hey, what's the millage rate in this area? But remember, when you upload your OM, we know the zip code. So it will read the expense scenarios. It will search the web. Look at that. It's searching the web. And it will find the rate, and then it will think, and then this will change. Well, let's see if it does change. So again, going back to here, we are truly creating the Claw. This is what engineers must have felt like when they start using Claw. The engineers say, yeah, well, I don't write code anymore. I just keep prompting this thing to change things for me and updating. And then it will update this page. And if I scroll down, look at that. Yeah. That's how engineers probably felt. Like, you will say, I'm updating the expense scenario using this address, and that the record shows this one. You will search for the record. Yeah, and then I changed this 2.3 to 2.2267 and so on. So it will tell you what they have done. Okay, cool. And then that changed my IRR to 12%. Interesting. All right, so that's done. And so every part of it, you can use AI. You can even say, hey, for the unit mix, can you read from the OM? Because this is the unit mix from the T12, right? Can you read from the OM? Because the OM has this thing called like the label for this one, like B1C 2.1, they call it this thing like some name in the OM. So can you update the unit mix with the names or the labels from the OM? They can do that, but I don't think I have an OM uploaded here, so that's why I didn't want to prompt that question. All right. Okay, let's keep going. Closing costs, self-explanatory. You can have a template. CapEx, same thing. You can also have a template. Let's go to finance. Finance is pretty cool. The finance part, the one I want to draw attention to is there's the ability to refinance. So this is, and then you can create different scenarios. So let me go to the 70% no refinance. So no refinance, this is no refinance, 60% IRR, okay? 70%, 70 loan to value, 36 months of interest only. I can do it, just do a refinance, or I can just use AI. Let's see. I've never done this actually. Can you do a scenario where I refinance on the third year with 5% interest rate, 12 months of IO, and then that's it. And use reasonable assumptions. And then let's see what it does. So what it should do, I hope it does, it will create a new scenario, and then it will read in the scenario, it will think, and then it will update it with finance, and then let's see what happens. So now the 16% IRR, it will change it to 16% to something different. Because with refinance, your IRR should increase, right? Theoretically, because you are getting more money back. So your IRR is, okay, this is lower, interesting. I don't know why, but let's see. Okay. So it does update it, and it even called this thing called year 3 refinance. Okay, so 3 year, 70%, 5%, and so on. And so like, why is my IRR actually lower? Okay, so I'm gonna ask that question because my IRR shouldn't be lower. Oh, because you're taking out a very cheap debt and replace it with much more expensive debt. Let's take a look. If I look at this refinance, I see. Because this loan interest rate, I stupidly put 2% because on this particular one, they are assuming the loan. So there's no way you should do a refinance. I see. Whereas, but AI is smart to know that you are taking out a cheap debt and replace it with more expensive debt. I did not know that. Remember this number, this 2%, just so you know, this 2%, I did not put it in. It's part of the OM. That's one of the broker set. That's why it put 2%. So it's intelligent at this point to know that like what the assumption should be. Okay. All right, I think we are 40 minutes in, and then that's that. There's the rank comps as well. So the rank comps, you can just click on get rank comps, and then you will go to the internet and get rank comps. Or you can just ask AI to say, hey, can you look up the rank comps nearby, and then add it to my rank comps tab. You can do that as well. Okay, so I have done that prompt, so it's exhausted all the nearby stuff. Okay. All right, so to recap, we have all of this stuff. The new things we have built, there are 4 very important things we have built. Number 1, we added the concept of feeder fund because we believe feeder fund is more legally compliant, and we want the feeder fund manager to start underwriting for free on Cashflow Portal before they do the feeder fund deal. And if you do the feeder fund underwriting here, you can compare the actuals against the pro forma. Same thing for syndication. So feeder fund is the first important thing we ship. The second important thing is the ability to differentiate between property level and class level and feeder fund level. Okay, so feeder fund has its own level. So that's the second one, which is be able to compare the property level and the class A and class B level. The third thing we ship is the ability to start comparing different deals to find the more important deal. That's something that's I'm very happy about. And then the fourth one, probably the most important one, is that this AI underwriting, this AI assistant now, not can just read the data, but can change the data. It's a partner now that can update your underwriting model. with the guardrail that like they cannot change the formula. So that's really awesome. Okay. All right. So Kyle asked a question: how to update the CFP website with a complete capability statement for the underwriting module? Kyle, you're talking about the homepage, right? Or you're talking about as a GP, I want to snap this underwriting thing there so that the LP can open it. And then like basically if I take this thing, they can actually just like play with it or make a copy of it or not. What do you mean by that?
I promote the crap out of CFP with other GPs that they should be in this product. So I'd like to have a one sheet for what the capabilities are for underwriting so that everybody can see the difference between this and other products. And also we need a certification program for this product.
Yeah.
Because our staff, I mean, it's hard to keep up with you in these meetings, let alone get our staff to follow it at the same time. So
yeah,
great job anyway.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for saying that. If you folks need any help, feel free to schedule a call with our team to learn the product. I will give you a hint on how to use the product. People have used AI underwriting and asked AI to say, hey, what does this thing do? How do I do this on the software? They're actually doing that. They're literally like using Meta. They're using AI to teach them how to use this software, which is pretty crazy as well. Yeah. But yeah, I do like this concept of a CFP university. Okay. All right. So that's that. And then the last thing the last thing is you can invite other folks onto the team. So you can add your lender, you can add your broker, and then you can add definitely your co-GPs. Okay. This is not something we have yet, but we will add that very quickly. You see the feeder funds, but right now there's nothing that says, hey, I have 3 GPs. They are making, this amount for asset management, that amount for whatever, and how much do each GPs make? We don't have that yet, but it's pretty easy to build. So I acknowledge that. Cool. I think that's pretty much it. Questions? Any comments here? Any thoughts? Are you guys how are you feeling about the underwriting? Do you feel like it's not something you thought? It's pretty sophisticated right now.
Well, I'll give it my 2 cents. I'm not an underwriter, and this is giving me confidence to move into underwriting, and that's a huge statement. So, I mean, I am not an underwriter in the least. It's not where my brain goes, but this gives me an ability to kind of attack it on my own. So kudos.
It's equivalent of saying that there are now non-engineers that believe they are engineers.
And non-developers who believe they're developers.
Yes. I think that's what the industry is moving towards. Understood. All right. If there are no last thoughts.
I do have one question, Perry.
Yes,
great
Lisa.
job. Real informative. Can you show us what does a report actually look like?
Yes, absolutely. So if I go to the report, I can go to the summary, and then this is what the report looks like. And then I can change this to say whatever amount of investment, and then I can export this. It will have your logo on it. It will have your logo on it, and you will have this. Okay, so it has the address, it has the asset details, it has the images, and you can decide what images you want to include. So that's what the report looks like. And so people just download this PDF and send it to one of their LPs.
Okay, you can add that to a pitch deck. I saw it.
Yes, we did not go over that today, but you can literally create a pitch deck. So when you upload your OM, we extract all the photos from your OM. You can create a table of contents. You can rearrange it. We write your market demographics, but in this case, I don't think I upload a OM here. So, and then you can just generate a pitch deck, which is a PowerPoint presentation.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Is there a way to automate that in the investor portal when someone comes in and makes a soft commit to create an automated report that says, here's your projections report that automatically?
Oh, I see. Very good statement. So what you can do, you can go to automations, and then I'm going to go into this new automation, and you can say, not this joint portal. You can just say, if someone investment status change on this particular deal, let's say on this deal, and then investment is soft committed, and then save, then click on this. send them an email, and the email is whatever email you generated, and that's how you do it. Welcome, guys, to the world of all-in-one. This is why we need the all-in-one. Try to do this on Go High Level. Do you have investment data? I don't think so, right? But if it's all integrated, you can do whatever you like. So-and-so just self-committed. Send them an email with the attachment of the report. But you wouldn't know that someone just self-committed if you're using a different CRM.
And we can automate the generation of that report based on their commitment.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Kyle, I want to be super honest with that. On that particular statement, it's possible. It's like 2 days of work, but we have not. It's not implemented per se yet. Just so you know. Yeah. But if someone really wants it, we can implement it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. I appreciate everyone for coming, and thank you so much for watching. And this will be up on YouTube.